There is no greater asset than wisdom, and no greater teacher than nature. The more you explore, the more you discover yourself. Hello, all. This is Kaushik Chaudhary, presenting a glimpse of Ladakh. I have tried bringing to you its scenic beauty, rich cultural heritage, flora, and fauna that makes it a must place to visit. Hope this video helps you to discover this heaven on earth and plan your next trip to Ladakh.
The name Ladakh means land of high passes. Situated in the top of lofty Himalayan ranges, Ladakh enjoys the serene and beautiful scenic beauty. Ladakh is characterized by mightiest mountain ranges and valleys with elevation between 9,000 to 25,000 feet. On the north, it is bounded by lofty Karakoram Range. On its west lies the Indian territory of Kashmir, while to its south lies the Great Himalayan Ranges that separates it from Lahaul and Spiti Valley of Himachal Pradesh. The southern mountain ranges prevent rain-bearing monsoon clouds from crossing into Ladakh, making it a rain shadow zone. This is the primary reason why the luxuriant greenery of Kulu Valley ends abruptly after crossing the Rohtang Pass, and lush green valley of Kashmir gives way to a barren landscape after crossing Zojila Pass. Its snow-covered ranges, rocky edges, barren terrain, river chains gives it a unique magnificent look that makes it most popular tourist destination. On the other hand, with the scarcity of rain and extreme altitude, it is a harsh environment for human existence. With an average density of approximately 3% per square kilometer, Ladakh is one of the most thinly populated regions of India. It is further divided into two administrative districts, Leh and Kargil. Picture in the left is of Changla Pass. On the way from Leh to Pangong Tso, it is located at an altitude of approximately 17,590 feet above sea level. On the right is Khardungla Pass, located on the Ladakh range 40 km north of Leh. Khardungla links the capital of Ladakh with the Siachen Glacier. At 18,379 feet, it is known to be the world's highest motorable pass. Some of the other passes worth mentioning are Zojila, the 434 km long Srinagar Leh road crosses the Great Himalayan Ranges at the Zojila Pass, which is approximately 11,570 feet above sea level. It remains snowbound in the winter and is open from June to September only. Rohtang Pass, located at a height of approximately 13,051 feet above sea level on the Manali-Leh highway, the Rohtang Pass enjoys one of the best views in the world. It is open from mid-July to September only. Barlachla. On the Manali-Leh highway, Barlachla, with the height of 16,040 feet, is situated at the tri-junction of three roads, one from Manali, one from Leh, and one from Spiti. Namkhila, at a height of 12,139 feet above sea level, Namkhila is situated on the Zanskar range and connects Kargil and Leh districts. Fotula is also located on the Zanskar range and its altitude of 13,478 feet above sea level. Lachungla is located on the Zanskar range at a height of 16,598 feet above sea level and offers a breathtaking view of the Ladakh plateau. Now a brief on its history. Ladakh's history constitutes of tumultuous intrigue, invasion, betrayal, plunder, internal strife, uneasy alliances, and a prince who became the best-known ruler. The first inhabitants of Ladakh were probably the Changpas, nomadic herdsmen from the Tibetan plateau who arrived in search of greener pastures. The Mons and Aryans then moved into the valley while the Dards followed the Indus upstream from Gilgit. Later migrants were drawn by the strategic position of Ladakh as a gateway to Central Asia. Following the disintegration of the Tibetan Empire, the scattered tribes of Ladakh were overwhelmed by a large Tibetan migration, sometimes around 842 AD. Nyamagon, the Tibetan royalty, then established himself as the first ruler of Ladakh. Later, around 15th century, Islam arrived in Ladakh, brought by traders, spies, and warriors from Kashmir, Central Asia, and Baltistan. In the years that followed, the various religions got mingled with the society. In some instances, it was the decision of the king that drove Ladakh in the direction of being a cradle for diverse cultures. Of note is the alliance of King Jayama Namgyal with Gyal Khatun, daughter of Balti king Amir Mir. His son Sinche Namgyal ascended the throne in 1616 and went on to become the most famous of Ladakh's king, reclaiming lost land and building several monasteries. Ladakh's next great transformative political experience came with the invasion of the region by the Dogra Empire in 1834. The advent of British imperialism and King Gulab Singh's pact with the East India Company in March 1846 ensured that Ladakh remained under the control of the Dogras until India's independence. When finally it became part of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, the Ladakh's Autonomous Hill Council came in being in 1995. In August 2019, a Reorganization Act was passed by the Parliament of India, which contained the provision to reconstitute Ladakh as a union territory, separate from rest of Jammu and Kashmir, as of 31st October 2019. Now that we know a bit on history of Ladakh and importance of Leh, let me tell you how to reach Leh. You can reach Leh here by either train, bus or airway. If you are coming by train, Jammu Tawi in Katra is the closest railway station, located at a distance of approx 700 km. You have to hire a taxi or board a bus from outside the railway station to reach Leh. It will take around 17 hours. Jammu Tawi railway station is well connected to the major cities like Kolkata, Delhi and Chandigarh. Chandigarh and Pathankot are the two other nearest railway stations. If you want to travel by road, Ladakh can be reached by two ways. First is Manali-Leh Highway, which is around 473 kilometers and take around 19 hours, with an overnight halt. It's mostly open from mid-June to early October. Second is Srinagar-Leh Highway, which is of around 434 kilometers and takes around 17 hours, with an overnight halt. It's mostly open between July and November. The Himachal Pradesh Tourism and Jammu Kashmir State Tourism operate the daily deluxe and ordinary bus services between Manali-Leh and Srinagar-Leh highways. If you are coming by air, the nearest airport is Kushok Bakula Rinpoche Airport, located in Leh. This is a commercial airport which is located at a height of altitude of 3,500 meters. This is directly connected to the major cities like Kolkata, Mumbai, Delhi, Srinagar and Jammu. The bird's eye view of Ladakh is just breathtaking and it will fill you with joy. This was my brief travel itinerary. On day 1, we arrived at Leh and took a half a day rest, and then in the afternoon we visited Leh Palace and Santi Stupa. On day 2, we traveled from Leh to Alchi, Likir, Bosco and came back to Leh. That day we visited Bosco Monastery, Likir Monastery, we saw Pattar Sahib and Magnetic Hill and Sangam of Indus and Zanskar River. On day 3, we traveled from Leh to Khardungla and to Deksit, to Handar, Turtuk and we came back to Handar and did a night stay there. That day we visited Khardungla Pass, we visited Deksit Monastery and we visited Turtuk. On day 4, we traveled from Handar to Pangong So. So means lake in Ladakhi language. So that day we went in and around Pangong Lake. On day 5, we traveled from Pangong So to Changla and we reached Leh. That day we visited Changla Pass, we saw Rancho School and in the evening we visited Leh Market. On day 6, we traveled from Leh to Archi and to Lama Yuru. That day we saw Archi Monastery, we saw Lama Yuru Monastery and in the evening visited Hall of Fame. On day 7, we departed from Leh.
On our arrival at Leh, we were received by our cab driver Dorje, who was also our guide. He accompanied us during the entire stay at Leh. We stayed at the Indus Valley Hotel. It has a good ambience, friendly staff and good service, and at a walkable distance from Leh Market. We got a very nice stargazing at the night, and the view of snow-capped mountain cliffs was amazing. Overall, it was a very pleasant stay. Few more pictures taken during our stay at hotel. We could see vibrant colored flowers in and around Leh, starting from roses with nice fragrance to wonderful bright colored flowers on barren lands of mountain. I have taken this video from the hotel balcony. You will see beautiful hills, snow-capped mountains all around. The tall trees that you see in this video are called poplar trees, and Ladakhi people use the woods to build their house. When you are coming to Leh, leave all your baggage of tension and worries. Relax and enjoy the heavenly nature.
So after taking half a day rest, we visited Leh Palace. Leh Palace is a formal royal palace overlooking the town of Leh. The palace was constructed around 1600 by Sinji Namgyal. The palace was abandoned when Dogra forces took control of Leh in mid 19th century and forced the royal family to move to Stoke Palace. It is 9-storied height. In the upper floors stayed the royal family, while the lower floors held stables and storerooms. Much of the place is not in good condition and little survives of the interior decorations. The Palace Museum holds a rich collection of ornaments, ceremonial dresses, and crowns. Chinese thangka or paintings, which are more than 450 years old, with intricate design, still retains the bright colors derived from crushed and powdered gems and stones. The wall paintings were executed on earthen plaster with the Siko technique. Some paintings in museum are Himalayan ibex, kind of wild goat, black-necked crane, bar-headed goose, and snow leopard. The palace is restored by the Archaeological Survey of India. Structures around the palace base include the prominent Namgyal Stupa, the colorfully muraled Chanda Gompa, and Chamba Lakhang, with medieval mural fragments located between the inner and outer walls. The palace is open for tourists and the terrace provides a panoramic view of Leh.
After Leh Palace, we went to Santi Stupa. Santi Stupa is a Buddhist white domed stupa on a hilltop in Chanspa, Leh. It was built in 1991 by Japanese Buddhist Bhikshuk Gomyo Nakamura and part of the Peace Pagoda mission. The Santi Stupa holds the relics of the Buddha at its base, enshrined by the 14th Dalai Lama. The stupa has become a tourist attraction not only due to its religious significance, but also due to its location, which provides panoramic views of the surrounding landscape. We stayed till 8:30 p.m. We enjoyed Kashmiri Kahwa tea, which is made up of Kashmiri green tea, kesar, crushed almond, and honey, along with local momo. We also visited a Buddha temple located at the same campus. Here I will end my day 1 trip and leave you with this beautiful video taken at Santi Stupa.
It's 8 p.m.
On day 2, after a nice breakfast at hotel, we started our journey towards Vasco. We went all the way to Rikhir Gompa. Gompa means monastery in Buddhist language. And while returning back, we visited Pathar Sahib Gurudwara, Magnetic Hill, and Sangam. Here's a tip. One thing you need to remember during your trip to Ladakh is you must go slow while climbing stairs or uphill. Due to less oxygen levels, you might feel out of breath and feel tired. We saw Basko Monastery from a distance on the way to Likhir Gompa. What we are seeing in this video is Basko village, captured while our journey through Basko. Basko Monastery, also known as Basko or Basko Gompa, is a Buddhist monastery located in Basko, approximately 40 km from Leh. The monastery is situated on top of the hill, towering over the ruins of ancient town, and is noted for its Buddha statue and murals. The complex comprises the Chamchung, Chamba Lakhan, and Sarzang temples, dedicated to the Maitreya Buddha. Although the monastery was built for the Namgyal rulers in 1680, Basko itself was embedded in the early days of Ladakh and is frequently mentioned in the Ladakhi chronicles when it was a political and cultural center. In the 15th century, a palace was built in Basko. So after crossing Basko village, we reached Likhir Monastery. Likhir Monastery or Likhir Gompa is a Buddhist monastery in Ladakh. It is located at 3700 meter elevation, approximately 52 kilometers in the west of Leh. It is situated on a hilltop in Likhir village, near the Indus River, about 9.5 kilometers north of Srinagar to Leh Highway. It belongs to Gelupa sect of Tibetan Buddhism and was established in 1065 by Lama Twang Chosje under the command of 5th King of Ladakh, Lacheng Gyalpo. Although Likhir is relatively isolated, it was once situated on a major trade route via Tingmosang, Hemis, and Likhir to Leh. Let me tell you something interesting about Leh lifestyle. During winter, the temperature of Leh goes as low as -20 degree, and they mostly stay on rice and meat with less vegetables. They get engaged mostly in household-based tasks to stay active during this time and keep their houses warm using kerosene-based pokari. After visiting Likhir Monastery, we started towards Sangam, and on the way we stopped to see Magnetic Hill. Magnetic Hill is a cyclops hill located near Leh. It is 26.5 km west of Leh on Srinagar Ladakh Road. The layout of area and surrounding slopes create an optical illusion of the hill. Objects and cars on the hill road appears to roll uphill in defense of gravity when they are in fact rolling downhill. To experience this phenomenon, you must park your vehicle in the box marked with paint on the road. The video, however, depicts the surrounding of Magnetic Hill. After Magnetic Hill, we visited Gurudwara Patthar Sahib. It is constructed in the memory of Guru Nanak Ji at a height of 12,000 feet above sea level, located around 25 miles from Leh on the Leh Kargil road. The Gurudwara was built in 1517 to honor the visit of Guru Nanak Dev to Ladakh region. During his lifetime, Guru Nanak Ji travelled to many distant places, and one such place was Tibet. You can also have langar at the Gurudwara. Lastly, we visited Sangam or confluence of Indus and Zanskar river at Nimmu. Here, you can clearly distinguish the two rivers by its color. During winter, the color of Indus turns clear blue. Provision of river rafting is also present, and rafting can be planned. With this, we ended our journey of day 2. We started early from Leh for day 3. The entire journey is of 306 kilometers. We made a quick pit stop at Khardungla. had a warm cup of tea and Maggie before reaching Biscuit and finally to Turtuk. After Turtuk, we took a night stop at Hundar in Nubra Valley. Details of the day follows next with some wonderful captures we took on the way. This is the route map of our travel. This is the pristine view on the way to Khardungla along with Ladakhi music. Khardungla, where La means pass in Tibetan, is a mountain pass in the Leh district. The pass on the Ladakh range is 40 km north of Leh and is gateway to Shyok and Nubra valleys. The Siachen Glacier lies part way up the latter valley. Built in 1976, it was opened to public motor vehicle in 1988. The elevation of Khardungla is 5,359 meters. It is the world's highest motorable pass. We saw snow-covered hills and it was so cold that even the flowing water stream got frozen. The weather is very different from the Leh city and so the taste of Maggie. It's a must try.
That experience of touching the snow-clad mountain, I will remember always. It was so cold that even water stream got frozen.
On the way to Turtuk village, we came across this waterfall and Goddess Durga temple. In the video is the Nubra river flowing on the sides of the road as we were traveling through the Nubra valley. The Shyok River is a tributary of the Indus River that flows through northern Ladakh. The Shyok River originates from the Remo Glacier, one of the tongues of Siachen Glacier.
As we traveled through Nubra Valley along the sides of Shyok River now, we took some pit stops to enjoy the view. Finally, we reached Tultuk. We were just 2.2 kilometers from POK. The officer at the post explained us that this is the last village before the border. I always feel proud when I look at our tricolor.
In the evening, we visited Deskit Monastery, also known as Deskit Gompa. It is the oldest and largest Buddhist monastery in the Nubra Valley. It belongs to Gelupa, also known as Yellow Hat, sect of Tibetan Buddhism. It was founded by Changzem Sub Zangpo, a disciple of Song Khapa, who is the founder of Gelupa. It is a sub-gompa of Diksai Gompa. The Deskit Monastery administration runs a school with the support of a non-government organization known as the Tibet Support Group. A popular festival known as Dosmose or the Festival of Scapegoat is held in the premises of the monastery in February.
Here is the wonderful view of the monastery and its surroundings.
We ended our day as we reached Stonehenge at Hunda, an excellent hotel near to the dunes and surrounded by hills. We had a very peaceful and relaxing stay after a long day trip. We woke up to the chirping of birds and free flowing water stream here, which is an unusual phenomenon in city these days. We started from hotel at around 8 am. On day 4, we visited Pangong Lake. I captured this morning clip from the balcony of hotel before we started for the day. We had an adventurous drive on the way to Pangong, where we witnessed water flowing on the road, making it difficult for the vehicles to cross. This is the water that flows from the glaciers, and as they pass by, the water level on the road increases and then subsides by the start of the next day. If water level goes high, vehicles won't be able to pass, and one has to wait for next day. Changtang Wildlife Sanctuary is spread over an enormous area of approximately 1600 square kilometer. It's home to an incredible variety of flora and fauna. Visiting the Changtang Wildlife Sanctuary can be a rewarding experience. We saw Pashmina sheep, wild horse, and marmot on our way. Marmots are very friendly creatures, but if you tease them, they will shy away.
Here is one posing marmot.
Pangong Tso or Pangong Lake is an endorheic lake in the Himalayas, situated at a height of about 4,350 meters. It is not a part of Indus River Basin area and is separate landlocked river basin. It is 134 km long and extends from India to the Tibetan Autonomous Region. Approximately 60% of the length of lake lies within the Tibetan Autonomous Region. The lake is 5 km wide at its broadest point and overall it covers an area of 604 square kilometers. During winter, the lake freezes completely. This was the shooting spot next to Pangong Lake for the Three Idiot movie. We stayed at the Pangong retreat camp. The electricity supply is only through genset and is available in the evening from 7:30 pm to 11 pm. These are temporary tent house and they operate only during the tourist season. The stargazing experience was really fascinating here. With this, we ended our day with a good warm dinner in a freezing cold night.
We started our day 5 from Pangong on the way through the snow-capped Changla Pass.
A movie shooting place, the Rancho School from the famous movie Three Idiots. We saw this fish pond on our way back to Leh. In the evening, we went to Leh Market for shopping. While strolling in the streets of Leh Market, we witnessed this music which we could film. It was nice meeting local Ladakhi women. We found them knitting woolen items and selling them.
Things that can be purchased in Leh Market are Buddhist handcraft items, pashmina shawls, and other articles. It's worth trying local cuisines at this market. We ended our day 5 with this.
We started our day 6 after breakfast at the hotel. First, we went to Archi Monastery and then to Lamayuru Monastery. On our way back, we visited Hall of Fame, which is a war memorial. Archi Monastery or Archi Gompa is a Buddhist monastery known more as a mosaic complex of temples in Alchi, village under Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council. The complex comprises of 4 separate settlements in Alchi village with monuments dated to different periods. Of these 4 hamlets, Alchi Monastery is said to be the oldest and most famous. It is administered by the Likir Monastery. Alchi is also part of the 3 villages which constitute the Alchi group of monuments. The other 2 villages adjoining Alchi are Mangyu and Sundachun. The monuments in these 3 villages are stated to be of unique style and workmanship. It is situated at around 68 kilometers from Leh.
One can see a magnificent view of Indus River flowing in the backside of the monastery. The view is very refreshing and we relaxed for around 2 hours here.
Here we got to see some traditional tools used for irrigation, utensils and clothing in Ladakh. Also, it gave an idea of how Ladakhis used to survive the bone-chilling cold. Alongside, we could enjoy a glass full of Sibakthon juice, which is Leh berry at this place. After Alchi Monastery, we visited Lamayuru Monastery. Lamayuru or Yuru Monastery is situated at the Srinagar-Leh highway about 117 km from Leh and 15 km east of Fotula Pass at a height of 3,510 meters. Lamayuru is one of the largest and oldest gompas in Ladakh. Lamayuru is host to 2 annual masked dance festivals in the 2nd and 5th month of Tibetan lunar calendar. This place is also denoted as Moonland since the surrounding resembles the surface of moon. On our way back to Leh, we visited Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame is a museum constructed by the Indian Army in memory of the brave Indian soldiers. The Hall of Fame Museum is located on Leh Kargil Road, about 4 kilometers from Leh city. It stands as a remember of the great sacrifice made by our soldiers to ensure the safety and security of our country. On our last day, we visited various sections of the museum and learned a bit more about the history and traditions of Ladakh. Also, it has information on various wars fought by our brave soldiers. This is one place that makes an Indian feel proud of being an Indian. The museum also has a souvenir shop where one can buy some local artifacts, souvenirs, which can help bring back memories from this wonderful place of travel. With this, we ended our trip of Ladakh. Hope this video gave you an insight on Ladakh. We would be posting more such videos on different places. Do subscribe to my channel and stay updated. See you again.